The American public has been hearing for years that Social Security is going broke. There have been various reasons, but experts are now saying that Social Security may go broke in the 2020s if there are not changes in the disability portion of disbursements. Art, you're getting up there in age. What's your take on all this?
Well, I mean, as I look around this panel, I suspect, in fact, matter I know, I'm the only one that's on the social already.
You already got the social.
Absolutely, and that's not a disease. It's Social Security. I took the early retirement at 62. Okay, a little historical.
So you've been on it for quite a while.
Yeah, that's exactly right. See, well, I'm gonna get my money out of it.
I hear it. Paid into it
While
all
it's
them
still
years.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
But a couple of historical facts about Social Security is when Social Security came into existence, it was never intended to be the only form of retirement that people would have.
Right.
It was intended to be a supplemental.
Supplemental, right.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as it has turned out in many instances, it's become the prime retirement for a lot of people.
Old age supplemental income.
That's exactly right.
Death benefit. Right?
That's exactly right. And so yeah, you know, I'm concerned, but I'm not concerned about myself. I'm concerned about my kids.
I hope you're concerned about me.
And I'm concerned about Bob Brucci and
Thank you.
Colin
Thank you.
and Jim and our grandchildren. You know, the statistic I had, it's according to whether you listen to the Democrats or the Republicans, but somewhere between 2026 and 2035, you pick the year, Social Security is going to run out of money.
But in 2002, they said it was going to run out between 2015 and 2017. So something's happened.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, you know what I found interesting, and I wanted to get a couple of clear facts today, so I was doing a little research, and one thing that I found out that I didn't know is that income above $118,000 is not taxed.
That's
for
correct.
Social Security. Now, I know this is going to sound very liberal on my part, very socialistic, but if you're making over $118,000 a year and they aren't taxing you still for Social Security, but yet the guy on the street who's working his butt off 40, 50, 60 hours a week to make $60,000 a year gets all of his income taxed, don't you think it'd be okay you just spend a little bit more?
Well, let me. I agree with you.
And be taxed. I mean, I think you ought to be taxed on all your income.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I mean, what your bottom line says on your
know,
taxes.
So I'm not going to, you know, I'm not running for office. So I can clearly, I agree with you 100%. But the alternative to that, in what the rich guy that makes over $118,000 would say to you, is that I'm not going to draw any money. I didn't pay any in. I'm not going to draw any money out. So therefore, why would you?
Why paid in up to $118,000.
Yeah, that's right. But over $118,000, I'm not going to draw out at the level that you're going to tax me at.
Maybe.
Well, but I think Social Security is not really meant only as a personal retirement program. It's a social responsibility. So I think at that point, I'm really going to agree with Bob. I think that somebody who's making over $118,000.
You're a Democrat, aren't you?
Yes-ish.
Oh, see?
Is going to have a responsibility to pay at that level. And I certainly, you know, from my standpoint, I certainly wouldn't mind paying more if I was able to.
Exactly. I mean, you know, if I'm, don't get me wrong, I mean, I surely don't make anywhere near that kind of money, but, you know, our family gives to charities and does those kind of things also. I mean, maybe my charitable giving would be less if I was paying, you know, a little bit more on Social Security. But
So there's an employer part of Social Security too. So
Oh, yes, indeed.
7.5% for the employee, and it's 7.5% for the employer.
Right.
The employer's piece, as I understand it, stops at that number as well.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Well, maybe it shouldn't.
well, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm on board with you there. I think
You know,
I think it
it's
should.
some of the things that, and keep in mind, I think we're talking really about this is the disability side of it, not just the retirement side of it.
Well, that's true.
But, you know, I mean, you look at today.
And in that regard, the 118,000 guy can be disabled just as quickly as the $30,000 a year guy or lady.
Today, during my little bit of research that I had time for, I wanted to look at some of the things that, you know, are covered under disability. And we're talking young people, from newborn to tweens, okay? some of the things that you can get your disability for is if you have if you're schizophrenic or you're delusional. Okay.
Oh my God, that means
now, let me tell you
everybody can
what.
qualify.
I mean, I marked all these in red because I qualify under every one of these. Okay.
I heard that about you.
Mood disorders. You know, depressed or irritable mood all the time. Things like that. Hang on, I know this is going to take a couple minutes, but we got a couple minutes. Intellectual disability. I fit in that category.
I thought you were pointing at me.
No, buddy. No, I'm just all about anxiety disorders. That's me.
So basically what you're saying is you're expecting your check.
So, yeah, I should be.
What he's
Eating
saying-
and tick disorders, well, that's me.
What he's saying is everybody qualifies.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Exactly
I'm going to tell you right now, I had that from the day I was born. Okay? But I guess what I'm getting here is that most of these can be, you can, the child can get disability just from having some documented information from the school system.
Right.
Now, I will tell you that my kids went to school in the day and age, especially my older one, when they thought Ritalin was the answer, the wonder drug. Okay,
Yep.
So markedly, he should have been able to get disability the entire time he was in school.
Sure.
Of course, it never happened. But I'm saying, if we're looking at this, and if the Social Security is on the verge of bankruptcy, then we've got to look. Okay, maybe you don't get it for being ADHD. Maybe you take the Ritalin, you go to school, you behave yourself, you do what you're supposed to do.
Well,
But we've heard about this for so many years, and I can't remember one administration hasn't talked about Social Security going broke. For
Everybody
some
does.
reason.
Yeah.
But nobody.
Roosevelt was
does anything
talking about
it.
when he was signing the paper.
Nobody does anything about it.
Well, go ahead, Colin. No.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to agree with Bob, what Bob was saying. Really what we are dealing with here is there's a lot of opportunity for abuse and the social, especially on the disability side. And just because somebody, and this was meant for somebody who hurt themselves on
Right,
doing heavy labor or something of that nature. That doesn't
During
mean,
working.
right,
I mean,
that doesn't necessarily mean that person is not capable of being retrained to do something else.
Right.
You may have a broken back, but you're still capable of working. And I think oftentimes putting somebody on a disability where they're not doing anything, they're just collecting a check, is the absolute worst thing you can do for that person from a health perspective, from a mental
every
perspective,
perspective.
every other
I
perspective.
was in I got to tell you this story. I'm not going to mention where I was or anything or who I was talking to, but I was in this store and I was in the checkout line and there was a person in front of me and she was complaining because she had filed her paperwork for disability and it'd been a year and doing those kind of things. She had, honest to God, it looked like there was nothing at all absolutely wrong with her. She had a ankle brace kind of thing like I had on at the stadium, all right? And that was her reasoning. She said it hurts her to walk. I see people every single day who are 1,000 times more handicapped than she will ever be, going to work, working a job, and she wants to get Social Security disability. I stood there and I was just like, oh my God, I'm scratching my head. Anyway, listen, that's the last word on this, unfortunately. But next up on the flip side, Tony Callahan will lead a discussion about serving the homeless. Please stay tuned.